Yo, good morning, all right? You already know what time it is, and you already know what rhyme it is. It's nasty and gloomy outside in Baltimore, Maryland. Today, it's not that cold. It's about 51 degrees out. So, it's not terrible, but it's still not pleasant. All right, so today I definitely wanted to talk about something that has slid across my desk. Actually, I think about a day and a half or maybe 2 days ago now. The guy, the rapper, Juice WRLD, one of the younger rappers from the next generation and shit, ended up dying of some kind of medical emergency he had at Chicago airport. Dude had a seizure, according to what the medical examiners say. They're still determining what the cause of death is, but a lot of people are speculating that this kid was on the wave of popping pills and taking hella drugs. That's being glorified by this younger generation. I didn't listen to this guy's music at all, so I can't verify that. But what I can definitely say is, it seems like ever since Lil Wayne had his breakthrough and he was on top, I think it was like 2008, was it, or 9, for like the next 3 years. Like, Wayne had a huge influence on that drug culture in the black community. Before, it was like, it also, mostly the South too, because, lean became a real big thing from the South. When the South took over in like 2004, they brought all that shit with them, but it didn't really catch on and like really light fire until Wayne was really on it. And then once he started fucking with that shit heavy and glorifying that and the gangbanging too, man, that was something else that Wayne glorified, the blood gang joint. And then after that, everybody and their mother was a blood. I can tell you here in Baltimore, people were banging, but it wasn't like that. Now everybody and their mother is a blood or crip. It's like, it's oversaturated. But like I always say, if a motherfucker with a gun will shoot you, he dangerous. So it don't matter what neighborhood he from. It don't matter where he from. If dude claiming blood and he'll shoot the fuck out of you, it is what it is. So of course, that's not what it's all about. I'm very aware of that. I'm aware of the origins of Bloods and Crips. So you don't have to try to school me on that. I'm very aware of that. But fact of the matter is, this shit was glorified by Lil Wayne, and this shit became trendy. I know a few people who joined gangs because it was trendy but won't admit it. So, it is what it is on that one. But for me, it's like, this whole drug culture shit is crazy because, we learned about this shit in science class, like what different drugs do and shit like that. And they were like, my science teacher told me, honestly, he was like, this was back in like 2000. He said, look, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Scientific facts shows that marijuana that grows from the earth has never caused one single death. And then he went into the whole entire, I think he was a stoner himself. He wouldn't admit it, of course, he's a teacher. But I know he admitted he was at one point when he was younger. This dude had to be like 65, 70. He's an older head, but he was cool as shit. So dudes like, with this whole situation, hold on, I get over a cold, throat's a little raspy. He was like, with this whole situation, marijuana is actually not bad for you. It's just the whole DARE thing wanted to shame you from it because this and that and the third. They had misinformation. It was a lot to do with it. And they also said pharmacy had something to do with that shit too. So he was like, but these drugs will. And he started talking about drugs that will fuck you up. Cocaine was on the list, and that was one of the highest ranking ones. It wasn't the highest, of course. But he was like, when you continue to sniff cocaine, it actually puts large, like penny-shaped holes in your brain, like literal holes in your brain tissue. That's why you start having psychotic breakdowns and shit like that. You're missing parts of your brain. And he was like, that shit, once that shit's done, you can't come back from that. So he said, that's something you should definitely avoid. Of course, I went to school with a lot of white people in high school. So a lot of motherfuckers was doing that shit anyway. Back then, black people didn't really fuck with cocaine like that. But a lot of motherfuckers was doing that shit, sniffing lines, snorting rails is what they call it. So they was fucking with that shit heavy. But he was like, also, heroin. He was talking about the physical addiction of cocaine and heroin. Your body gets physically dependent on it. So not only do you mentally feel like you have to have it to release stress, or if you got drama or something to pull your mind away from the drama, you also have a physical addiction, which means your body will go through withdrawal, which feels like a sickness. It feels like you have the fever or something like that. And he was just like, you'll really be desperate for that shit to the point where you'll sell anything. And he went on to explain how it works when, you know, fiends sell all that shit and they keep betraying the people that trust them. He broke all that shit down, yo. This was about a 2-class lecture he gave us, but it was so compelling, like, yo, you couldn't take your ears away from dude. He's a good science teacher. But yo, this shit, all these drugs that are man-made, they got chemicals and shit in them. And like when you light this shit or when you take it, it interacts with the chemicals you have in your body, and there's a chemical change, and it creates something far worse. And when it starts to set inside you, that's when you start to break down. So I mean, that shit, like popping pills, I was never with that shit. The only thing I've ever done was weed, man. I was never with any of that other shit. Like, yo, people would do ecstasy. He said that shit was terrible for your brain and shit. It didn't punch holes in your brain, he said, but it caused you to overheat and shit like that. It was just, you could die from a fucking, what is it, a heat stroke or some shit like that? I can't remember. But yeah, he was serious about that shit, man. You gotta keep the temperature regulated and all that. But yo, he went in detail and a tangent on that. But yo, a lot of these drugs these kids are taking are fucking them up, man. And then like the pressure of being famous, you know, your friends, they stop fucking with you because you can't keep giving them money every 5 seconds. Your family you grew up with, people who supported you, you grew up with, all of a sudden turning on you. Like, that shit is stressful as fuck. I can imagine how stressful that shit is. Imagine having your immediate family or whoever you're close to that you call your ride or die, your ace, your brother and shit. You get a little bit of change and that changed everything. Like, you want it to be one certain way, but like the dude, it won't stay that way for whatever reason. This shit happens, yo, and I hear about it all the time with celebrities. Once they get on, they gotta change that circle. Sad, man. You know, these kids, they blowing up, and you know, it feels like they're not really ready for what they're getting into. Now, I don't know, this shit's always been like this, but social media, of course, makes the world a lot smaller. So it could be a situation where you know, the kids like are exposed to more because of social media. But I remember, like, yo, when my Beep and them were younger and shit like that, and all those groups, none of these kids were dying from drugs. I mean, they died when they got older. You know, Prodigy died when he got older and shit. I remember he was like 16 when he did, I think he was 16 when he did, it wasn't Keep It Thorough, what the hell was it called? Shook Ones. That joint, yeah, that joint was a banger, yo, but he was only like 16, I think. Him and Prodigy, or him and Havoc, they was only 16. So, they was exposed to that shit and they didn't kill themselves off drugs. But yeah, I mean, the culture changed, man. The culture definitely changed. But what can I say? I guess it's bound to happen over time. So it's just interesting to see what's going on right now. But like, what's the next wave? Like, if drugs became the thing, like, what's the next wave that's gonna fuck these kids up? J. Cole said this shit itself, man. These kids on drugs. I mean, and people notice this shit, but nobody's doing anything about it. But like I said, I don't know if this is what dude died of. I just suspect it is, because we've already lost about 3 or 4 hip-hop heads in the last 3 years. And that's unprecedented, because I don't think we've ever lost that many hip-hop guys that fast. But yo, they dropping like flies, man, and like 3 of them was overdoses. You know, shit crazy. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section about today's topic, man. How you feel about these kids on drugs and shit, and they glorifying this drug life, and what do you think happened to dude, man? Let me know in the comment section. Drop me with a like and hit me with a subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And if you could share, that'd be excellent. Meanwhile, I gotta punch this clock. You already know what I do. So take it easy. I'll catch you on the next go round. Peace. Holla at you later.